Capital Investment Committee will come to order today on Thursday, January 19th. Welcome, everyone, as we continue our exploration of all our different state agencies that have lots of important infrastructure needs. So first, I'd like to welcome to come and testify before us is Mr. Freeman, Jeff Freeman, Executive Director of the Public Facilities Authority. Welcome. If you just want to repeat your name for the tape and then proceed with your presentation.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Freeman. I'm the Executive Director of the Public Facilities Authority. We are the state agency that provides.
And you have to remember to turn on the mic. The sound system here is not quite adequate. If you're back, you have to be pretty close to the mic.
Okay.
Thanks.
The Public Facilities Authority, we are the state agency that provides financing for to cities for water infrastructure projects, cities and other local governments. Thank you for inviting me here today. A quick overview, and then I'll show you a little bit of the details of our project lists. So what we're, PFA finances all forms of municipal water, drinking water and wastewater infrastructure, some stormwater projects as well. What we're really focused on is projects that are replacing aging infrastructure. That's really the majority of what we do. Both all the underground pipes as well as treatment plants, lift stations, water towers, all that kind of thing. We've financed system improvements for better service and efficiency. We do a number of projects to upgrade treatment facilities to improve water quality. And we finance service extensions to serve existing needs that aren't yet hooked up to a city system. We have three primary programs. The largest by far are the Clean Water and Drinking Water State Revolving Funds. These are low-interest revolving loan programs. Since the PFA began in 1990, we have financed about $4.4 billion in loans to cities, big and small, throughout the state. We refer to these as loans, but really what we're doing is purchasing local general obligation notes at below market interest rates. Loans have 20 to 30-year term, and the program is supported by annual federal capitalization grants. There's a state match component, and then all of the repayments revolve back to make new loans. And it's that it's the federal and state component, that equity in the fund that allows us to subsidize those interest rates. So the interest rates on these loans are significantly better than a city could get on its own, even through tax-exempt financing in the private market. A portion of the federal funds are also used to provide principal forgiveness grants for disadvantaged communities and green infrastructure projects. Then we also have two state grant programs that are we use to co-fund projects. There's the WIF grant program that provides grants to cities to replace aging infrastructure that would otherwise be unaffordable. And we package those grants with PFA loans or with USDA Rural Development, which is the federal agency that also finances water infrastructure projects in a similar manner, and we partner with them on many projects. They are focused on the smaller rural communities. Then finally, there's the Point Source Implementation Grant Program, which are grants that are specifically targeted to help cities upgrade treatment plants to improve water quality. Many of these projects are to provide more to meet more stringent treatment requirements for things like phosphorus, mercury, chlorides, a variety of specific pollutants to that Pollution Control Agency has set more stringent permit limits.
Mr. Freeman, would you be a little bit more specific about the difference between clean water and drinking water grants and point source implementation grant?
Yes, so first of all, the term clean water actually comes from the federal government. That is the wastewater project. So think in terms of the end product from the treatment processes. Those are clean water. Also, stormwater treatment falls into that category. Drinking water projects are the wells, the surface water intakes, water towers, and treatment plants and distribution systems that cities provide clean and safe drinking water to their residents and businesses. These are basic municipal water infrastructure systems, both the inflow and the outflow, if you will. And one of really the major responsibilities of local governments is they're responsible for operating, maintaining these systems, providing that quality, safe drinking water, appropriately treating the wastewater 24/7, 365 days a year to their residents and businesses. It's a critical function of municipal government. The programs operate under kind of a funding framework that starts with projects being ranked on priority lists by our partners at the Pollution Control Agency, which ranks the wastewater projects, or clean water, if you will, and the Health Department that ranks the drinking water projects. Projects are ranked based on age and condition of the existing infrastructure, as well as public health and water quality factors. The loans are available broadly to cities of all sizes. Projects ranked in our fundable range, we do have more demand than we have funding available, but for the most part, we're able to meet generally, in terms of the priority list, 2/3 to 3/4 of the projects on the list would be in our fundable range for loan funding. Last year, we made 42 loans for $211 million at an average interest rate of less than 2%. And then there are the targeted grant programs that are specifically based on the affordability criteria that I mentioned earlier, or the treatment plant upgrades, which is that point source implementation grant component that's specifically targeted to doing those treatment improvements for improved water quality, to address impaired waters and that kind of thing, specific waters that are targeted by the Pollution Control Agency. Our goal with these programs and what we really focus on as we operate and design the programs is to have a stable and predictable process so that cities can plan and prepare for their projects. These are complicated systems. Even for a small city, they're major complicated systems. They take sometimes years of preparation, planning, design work before a project's ready for construction. And so cities need to know that as they go through that work, that pre-construction work, that there's the funding, they have some confidence that the funding will be there for them when their project is ready for construction, which is the point at which we provide the financing. We operate these programs in conjunction with our partner agencies, the Pollution Control Agency and the Health Department. Health Department focuses on the drinking water side of the projects, and Pollution Control Agency on the wastewater and stormwater projects. Each maintains or prepares a project priority list that's generally a 5-year project pipeline. Cities that have indicated they're seeking state funding for a project sometime to go to construction sometime in the next 5 years. Those agencies conduct the technical engineering reviews, that are the project planning documents, the project plans and specs to when they're ready to go to construction. They do the environmental reviews that are required. And when all of that is complete, they provide a certification to the Public Facilities Authority that the project is ready for financing from the technical side. The PFA prepares what's called an annual intended use plan. There's a clean water intended use plan and a drinking water intended use plan. It's the annual list of projects that are eligible to apply for and receive funding for projects that are planned for construction in that year. We do the financial and credit reviews, and we're really focused on making sure the city has adequate revenues, which come from the monthly user charges, monthly water bills for their residents and businesses. And we want to make sure they have sufficient revenues to pay for the operation and maintenance costs of the systems, to pay any existing debt service for prior projects that they've built, as well as then funding to pay debt service on the new project that's being proposed. Then we make the funding awards, set the loan terms and conditions, disperse funds as costs are incurred during construction, collect the repayments, and do ongoing monitoring through review of municipal audits and other documents. So the funding process, and I've kind of talked about it already, projects cities submit project proposals to get on the priority lists. They then submit a request to the to PFA for the intended use plan when the project's ready for construction. We generally approve those in IUPs in October each year. Funds are not awarded until projects are bid and ready to start construction. Projects that receive the technical approval within the fiscal year are automatically carried over to the fundable range on the next intended use plan. Sometimes it takes additional time to be actually ready to go, to pull the trigger and be ready for construction. Projects that are on the IUP 1 year but don't get certified for whatever reason can then just reapply the following year. Talk a little bit about the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. The federal infrastructure bill will bring significant additional federal resources to these programs for these projects, approximately $668 million over the 5-year period. The funding is divided between supplemental funds that will provide additional funding for the programs that I just talked about, the basic water infrastructure projects that I mentioned. Half of that money is available for grants. The balance is through loans, and there are some set-asides for administration and technical assistance. There is a state match requirement for those supplemental funds, 10% for the first 2 years, 20% for the final 3 years. Then there are 2 special dedicated categories of funding within the IIJA funds. The first is for replacement of drinking water lead service lines. And this is generally older housing stock. Well, it is older housing stock. Lead service lines have been banned for many years, but there's still a lot of older houses that have that pipe that goes from the city's water main in the street to each house, in many cases, is lead, and that is obviously a serious health risk. This funding will be dedicated specifically to helping remove those lead lines. It won't solve the entire problem, but it'll provide significant funding to get started. There's also funding for directed at emerging contaminants within both within wastewater and drinking water. Specifically, the health department has identified manganese as an issue that needs to be dealt with. And then, of course, there's the PFAS chemicals that are, everyone's well aware of by now and need to be addressed in the drinking water systems. This table on the next slide shows kind of a comparison of the regular federal funding that we've typically received each year. This is the funding from 2022 compared to the first year of the IIJA funds. You can see that the total IIJA funds are about more than 3 times what we generally would receive each year. And then it does have, in addition to the regular programs, it has those dedicated funding categories for lead lines and emerging contaminants. So what we'll be looking for this year from the legislature is we're hopeful for, of course, a bonding bill to help meet the needs for the state matching funds, as for both the regular funds as well as the first 3 years of the IIJA funds, in addition to those state grant programs for WIF grants and the point source implementation PSIG grants. We do have projects approved, ready to go, that are eligible for those funds but can't proceed without them. In addition, there's some policy language that we will be seeking to make some changes to, technical changes to the statutory authority to be able to fully utilize those federal funds for the lead service lines and the emerging contaminants. That's the end of my prepared slides, but I do want to direct your attention to, I think in your packets, you have 2 sets of lists that are, and I'll walk through those just briefly. I won't spend a lot of time, but there's one that at the top left says DWRF, that's Drinking Water Revolving Fund, has the blue shaded rows going across. The other one is CWRF, Clean Water, has the green shaded rows going across. These are the intended use plan project lists from the 2023 intended use plans that we did just approve recently. The first several categories are the carryover projects that I mentioned that were approved in prior years but weren't quite ready for to actually begin construction yet. And so those are, as I mentioned, automatically carried over to the next IUP, and you can see those projects. You can see the priority ranking through the PCA and the health department's ranking systems, as well as then you can see the estimated project costs, the estimated loan amounts. The other columns show potential eligibility for the WIF grants or the principal forgiveness grants, which are, again, affordability based, as well as PSIG grants and other funding that's been identified for those projects. The drinking water list, as you go down to the bottom of the first page, has a category for lead service line replacement projects. This is the first set of project requests for that dedicated lead service line money. These cities have submitted those IUP requests. They're preparing for construction to start on these projects this summer. We've used this list now to apply to the EPA for the first year of the funding, and with the policy changes, those technical changes will hopefully be enacted this session, and then we can start awarding these funds to these projects. And there will be another round. Cities will be able to submit requests for year 2 of the IIJA funds this spring. You can also see some emerging contaminant projects. The first round of those focused on manganese. And then finally, there is the new project requests. The note there says not fundable at this time. And the reason for that is the lack of the state match funds that we were hoping for last session didn't happen. And so we have these new requests from cities that are pending right now. They're on deck, and we hope to, if we can get the state match appropriations, then we will do an amendment to this intended use plan to move those new project requests that are titled Part B. We'll move those into what's called the fundable range so those projects can move forward. So that's the first few pages of each packet is that intended use plan project list. Following that, you'll see some colored pages. The drinking water is on some blue pages. The clean water, the wastewater is on green pages. And this is the full entire project priority list in rank order, along with the estimated project cost, the estimated loans, the other funding that's been identified for these projects. Some of these projects are just now, as I mentioned, the project priority list is a 5-year list of projects. So some are just at the early stages of project planning, and so the full funding has not been totally identified yet. Others are ready to go, or in some cases have already been funded since the beginning of the fiscal year, and those are the shaded rows that go all the way across. Funding has been committed to those. Those projects are under construction. You'll see some shaded cells in the various funding columns. Those funds have been committed, but the projects have not yet started construction. Finally, each packet has a set of yellow sheets that list all of the projects on the priority list in alphabetical order. So if you're looking for a particular city and want to, you can find the PPL rank number is the first column. You can find that rank number and then turn to the colored pages to see where that project is on that priority list in priority order, as well as the potential funding that's been confirmed or estimated for that project. Madam Chair, I'll stop there and be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. You kind of alluded to this, but what was the results, really, of us not passing a bonding bill in 2016, 2021, 2022? How did that impact the programs?
Right now, it impacted the program by many projects that right now would be gearing up for construction start this summer are instead waiting and delaying the bidding and the work that would be ready to bring those projects to construction. So projects needing both some that are just eligible for loans but are waiting for the loans because they're new project requests, others that need the additional grant funds as well. We don't have the funding from the last bonding bill is pretty much run out. So there's projects that are ready to go to construction this summer, but waiting for those additional funds.
So, Mr. Freeman, we did have in the draft 2022 bill that no one saw, there was the money that you needed for the federal match. So could you just make sure that we have the correct numbers, just so that we are giving you enough that you need for the federal match?
Yes, and we've been working closely with the governor's office on the governor's bonding recommendations to include what's needed there.
So, Mr. Freeman, then I'll let the members ask questions. How are you handling the increase in cost? Because these projects have been on hold, we ran out of money, we haven't had the match that we need for the federal money, and inflation has impacted, I'm sure the costs have gone up. How are you refiguring all those numbers then for those local projects?
Madam Chair, we, as I mentioned before, we don't actually award funding, sign the contracts until the project has been bid. And so that then locks in those costs. We
Okay.
provided a contingency to cover change orders and things. But yes, clearly, construction costs are going up. And so for the set amount of money, there's fewer projects that can be funded overall. But we are managing that by working with the cities to get those updated cost estimates. The numbers that you have on these sheets are the most recent cost estimates we have for those projects.
And then just a technical question, when the IIJA money comes in, does it go to the Public Facilities Authority or does it go to the local project?
Madam Chair, the IIJ funding goes to the Public Facilities Authority for those clean water and drinking water state revolving funds. That's the federal law appropriates the money through those funding programs that managed by the PFA, and then it goes through this process of intended use plans and to these projects that you see on the list.
And that's a formula, so we get just so much money over the next 5 years, and we have to provide the match.
Correct.
Right, okay, thank you. Senator Nelson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm interested in the lead service line replacement. I know we've worked on, and particularly I'm wondering about our schools. A number of our oldest schools had lead lines, and that was clearly linked to learning challenges. And I just don't see where the schools fit in here. I'm sure they do, but I'd like to get a bit of an update, if you have that, on how are we doing with the lead pipes in our schools and replacing those, and where would we see them here? They'd be by school district, by city. I'd just like a little bit of an update on removing the lead lines in our schools.
Mr. Freeman.
Madam Chair, Senator Nelson, that's a good question. I know that schools are addressed, but I'm going to refer to my partners at the health department who I think have better information on that, and we'll get you an answer on that because they don't actually come onto this list. These are the local government projects, and the lead line projects are the private property, the businesses and the homes and the apartment buildings and that kind of thing. The publicly owned structures, such as schools, it seems to me there's another funding path for those, but I don't have those details, so we'll check on that.
Thank you. I'd like to know that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Rasmussen.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Freeman, for being here today. And I support, putting state funding towards PFA. I think it's a really important program to help out rural communities and communities across the state. One of the concerns that I have, however, is that are we incenting potential underinvestment from the municipalities where they're allowing routine maintenance to accumulate over time and effectively waiting for PFA or the state to bail out the asset liabilities that they have. And so I was wondering, Mr. Freeman, if you could talk to that and how this committee should perhaps be thinking about ensuring we're not incentivizing bad behavior and municipalities underinvesting in routine maintenance over the course of decades that then becomes a larger problem that requires appropriations from the state.
Mr. Freeman.
Madam Chair, Senator Rasmussen, that's a very good question. It comes down to what's called asset management. Cities are responsible for managing those systems. They make the decisions on, because it's sometimes it could be a fine line between getting the maximum life out of an existing asset and when do you then make the investment to replace that asset? And those decisions are best made by cities. What we do is we make sure that when we're funding a project, we make sure that the city has the rate structure in place for the future to both meet the O&M needs as well as the debt service requirements for those future capital improvements. We provide funding based on the total cost of that system, the O&M costs, the debt service, all of that determines the affordability-based grants, the WIF grants. So I never want to, it's a good question. There's not a perfect answer to that, but it really comes down to good management at the local level. At the city level, we provide funding through some set-aside funds to organizations like Minnesota Rural Water Association that conducts asset management training and other technical assistance to cities, to city councils, to operators, to make sure that they have all the information on how best to operate their system. And those educational technical assistance resources are really important to get at that issue.
Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Mr. Freeman. So, and a question you kind of brought up about some of the projects not getting funding in a bonding bill last year, and I have one community in my district that had to go ahead with a wastewater treatment plant because they had the bids were in place, ready to go, and were encouraged by the MPCA to go ahead. Now, since it's not been funded, or we didn't have a bonding bill, is there a way that we phase those projects to go back to get some of that funding back so that all the burden isn't on the cities to fund that completely within themselves, which would obviously make the rates very, very high? So what's the path or the relief method for some of our communities that had to go ahead with projects that were scheduled in 2022 to get some funding for those projects?
Mr. Freeman.
Madam Chair, Senator Jasinski, yes, phasing projects, we do everything we can to provide cities with flexibility to phase projects in a way that makes sense for their needs. And if a city had to proceed with a project without funding, it somewhat depends on how they are paying for that. If a city went to the bond market, issued bonds, and financed the project that way, we're not able to come back and refinance it. But we do talk with cities. My loan officers are in close communication with the cities on this list. And if a city does either some temporary borrowing to get construction started, we can then go back and reimburse for those costs. So it depends kind of on the situation, but we are very aware of that and try to work with cities as much as possible to both meet their needs on construction schedules and access funding as much as possible. So it is somewhat of a case by case. But
thank you, Madam Chair.
So Senator Jasinski, let's get this bill passed then right away so we can reimburse your city.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was ready last year.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other questions for Mr. Freeman? All right. Thank you very much. The other thing I wanted to ask you is to please get us that policy language then as soon as possible.
Yes. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Next, I'd like to welcome to the table the University of Minnesota with their capital investment request, repeat of last year. And I've been informed, unfortunately, that President Gable's not able to join us. But we have, I see J.D. Burton coming up here, and the Senior Vice President for Finance and Operations, Myron Franz, who of course we know very well as the former MMB Commissioner. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Myron Franz, Senior Vice President.
You need to lean into that microphone.
Okay, let me get settled here. Myron Franz, Senior Vice President for Finance and Operations at the University of Minnesota. Thank you, Madam Chair and members, for having us today to go through our capital request process. And I apologize on behalf of President Gable, who couldn't be here today. I will be joined a little bit later by one of our talented, outstanding senior students, Mustafa Syed, and also Brian Bohr, the Dean of the College of Food, Agricultural, and Natural Resource sciences. So I'll start off right away with a little overview and then get into some of the actual requests that we have. First of all, I want to mention that the University of Minnesota is a world-class institution in a sense of place, one that we believe is grounded in a system-wide strategic plan, what we call Impact 2025, a plan which has benefited greatly from input from the legislature and other state leaders. The plan is inspired by the state of Minnesota and reflects our commitment to world-class research and teaching. Impact 2025 also reflects our priorities and our needs and accordingly guides the choices we make, such as setting our budget framework at the university, especially as we seek to keep Minnesota's only land-grant research institution affordable and accessible for all Minnesotans. During the last year, we have welcomed the most diverse class in history and the second largest cohort at the Twin Cities in a half a century, while enrolling the largest class of Minnesota high school graduates as freshmen. We've set records for four-year graduation rates and research over $1 billion for the last 2 years in a row, and records for startups and patent creation. We have been elevated to the top 25 among national public research universities. And we were selected as the host for the 2026 Special Olympics USA Games and as one of America's best employers for diversity. We increased our sense of belonging of the Twin Cities undergrads to 88%, up 10% over last year. And we've elevated our partnership with Minnesota's tribal nations, including historic engagement with the Minnesota Indian Affairs Council. We also continue to work to reduce administrative overhead and to keep student debt under the national average. We launched an innovative program like two of them, like the Next Gen Ag at University of Minnesota Crookston and Next Gen at the University of Minnesota, Next Gen Medicine at the University of Minnesota Rochester this last year. These programs leverage Google proprietary technology and partnerships with leaders like the Mayo Clinic in Rochester. And last week, you may have heard, we announced our Impact Healthcare Innovation Vision, a vision that rooted in the university's autonomy in controlling the existing healthcare facilities on our Twin Cities campus. We're proud of the focus through Impact 2025 and our coordinated work to achieve these many and other world-class outcomes on behalf of our university family, on the people of our state, and for Minnesota's future. But what I'd like to talk about today is the opportunity that we have before us. First, the deferred maintenance backlog across the university's 32 million square feet of facility space is widespread. It touches on the student experience, the academic programs, research initiatives, and general competitiveness for the university. We have a large and diverse facility portfolio. Over 50% of our buildings are over 50 years old. 8.8 million square feet of the space is now considered in poor condition or critical condition, and that figure continues to increase year after year. So how did we get here? Well, to keep up with the demands of our infrastructure, we must make progress every year. And when we don't have a bonding bill, facility conditions worsen, important teaching and research programs suffer, and our projects get more expensive. Let me give you a couple of examples. Just this last month at the Regional Fitness Center at the University of Minnesota Morris campus, a leaking skylight caused moisture to build up, which led to the failure where a section of the ceiling fell into the pool. Now, thankfully, no one was injured. The fitness center serves not only the campus, but also the town and the surrounding community. This is a warm water pool with an accessible entry used by people with a wide range of physical abilities, including for rehabilitation purposes. So lucky that no one was injured there.
Mr. Franz, what campus was that?
University of Morris.
Morris.
Yeah. And the chemistry teaching project, I'm going to talk a little bit about more. You'll hear, as I talk about that, this is an excellent example of the cost of delay. The total project cost for the chemistry undergrad teaching lab was $98.4 million in 2020. That was when we first presented it to the legislature. Had the project been fully funded then, construction would be concluding this fall, and we fast forward to today, the same project is now estimated at $138.9 million. Now, we're using Minnesota Management Budget's inflation estimates for our new building estimates. Timing could not have been worse. With the extraordinary macroeconomic changes between 2020 and now, The 3-year delay also means, unfortunately, that several classes of undergrads from every college on the Twin Cities campus will never benefit from that building. We'll hear more about that from our senior student, Mustafa Syed, in just a moment. Now, the background, the cost of delay is really important because it, excuse me, the university has only received a capital appropriation out of 4 out of the last 10 years. Even then, the amount was not what we needed to keep up with our construction inflation, let alone our needs. So we're losing ground every year, and there's an impact to this delay. The university only has 2 real sources for facility renewal: state bonding or the university's general operating budget. If the university does not receive predictable HEAPR funds, and I think we all know in this room that HEAPR stands for Higher Education, Asset Preservation, and Replacement. If we don't receive predictable HEAPR allocations, the university's other funding options for fixing its aging buildings are either tuition or the state operating appropriation. Increasing the use of either of these sources has a direct impact on the students, faculty, and programs. Underfunding investments lead to situations where basic improvements for current code, accessibility standards cannot advance. Buildings without fire sprinklers, elevators, wheelchair ramps will continue to present a risk and challenge to occupant and to visitors to our campus. Chronic underfunding adds up. Across the enterprise, the University of Minnesota should be investing, we believe, $200 million annually just to maintain current conditions. Hence, we are in a declining condition trend toward more critical space, which undermines our current conditions. Regular and predictable HEAPR allows the university to avoid even more expensive emergency repairs. It is much less expensive, as we all know, to thoughtfully plan to address aging infrastructure rather than to try and fix those situations when they occur. The industry metric says that for every dollar you spend in stewardship, you can avoid $3 in future capital renewal investment. Therefore, it's pretty clear that a $100 million HEAPR investment will save the university and the state approximately $300 million over the time of those assets. Extending the useful life of an existing investment will always be more economical than replacing it with a new building. For example, the university avoided the need to build a new mechanical engineering building on the Twin Cities campus because we were able to make sufficient reinvestment through HEAPR to modernize the existing obsolete building systems. The investment has made that building functional for modern teaching and research. I guess I'm ahead of myself. Hold on. So there we go. The facility condition assessment tells us where and when to make adjustments and payments. This chart, I'm on the wrong chart again. You should never let me operate these alone, JD. That's the right one? Thank you. The facility condition tells us where and when to make these changes. This chart compares the partnership we have with the state and how we've been able to invest each year. The bottom of the yellow range, of the range there is yellow, and that shows the minimum amount needed to maintain the status quo. The top of the yellow range shows the amount needed to address all the building issues that have been added to deferred maintenance backlog. The university typically estimates, well, we estimate now that we have about $1 billion has been added to our backlog over the last 10 years. This just shows just how much HEAPR we've received since 2015. Obviously, we have 3 years where we have received HEAPR amounts, and we've only received about 7% of the required funding from our perspective. Let me focus a little bit on the space that we have. We hear a lot of people talking about what are you doing to reduce the cost of the infrastructure that you do have. One of the things that we know, if you look on this chart and you look at the non-office components on the left side of that chart, these are places where, this is why the university is a place-based institution. People come to be in the classrooms, to be in the laboratories. They come for to live there, the athletic venues. But we know that funding is part of the overall asset renewal solution, and we need to do more to reduce the overall cost of our infrastructure. I want to emphasize that only about 21% of the university space is office. We need safe and efficient functional space for those activities which continue to be in person. We do not want our chemistry students doing their labs at home in the kitchen, which is what I do sometimes when I cook, but that's not a good situation. Furthermore, we know that students want to be on campus, and we want to make those facilities as good as we can. Our primary focus on improving utilization is on office space. This project, we are designing our office space in a different way. We've learned a lot through COVID. We've learned how to be more efficient, how to have more collaborative space. And Morrill Hall is one example. Morrill Hall is located adjacent to Northrop Auditorium. That's where the administrative offices, many of the administrative offices of the university are located. We are moving out of there in the next year, and with the idea of moving into that space after we refurbish it, more student-facing activities, which is right at the core of the campus for the university. We want students to make sure that they have access to those kind of facilities in the core of our campus. We had a master plan that we just completed in 2022, and that campus plan showed that students want to be on campus, they want to be near the core of the campus, which is near the Northrop Auditorium area, but they also want to make sure that there's movability, that there's ways to move around the campus without having a car, without being able to access the different activities. So one of the things we're trying to do is to make sure that as we redesign and move office space around, we make it smaller, we make it more accessible, and we provide more opportunities for student-facing space.
Mr. Franz, let me just interrupt you for a minute since you mentioned Northrop. Didn't you just have a building incident at Northrop recently? I don't think it was the roof collapse, but that building's been remodeled significantly.
That building was reopened in 2014, and the roof didn't collapse. The roof structure appears to be okay. What happened on the edge of the roof, the parapets as we call them, the wall that holds up the roof is where there was some of the wall caved in there, and we had some water get into there. So that's one of those concerns about roofs of that size. But that building, so we're investigating kind of what caused that, how that happened. Obviously, a lot of snow and ice and maybe water. So we'll see, though, our engineers are looking at why that happened in such a short time after being remodeled, because that's, much too short of a time. This, we have some extraordinary events occurring in nature these days, which are testing some of our previous assumptions, but we're working on that now. Thankfully, no one was injured in that situation, and the engineers and the maintenance folks are on site, and we hope to have it closed up in the very near few days from the elements, but a very disturbing situation, to say that. We had to cancel the Joffrey Ballet this Saturday and this weekend.
So is the building still closed while you're doing repairs?
Yes, we just couldn't, and part of it is just the accessibility. We don't want anyone near the building as we're working on it with the crane, so we keep people around. It just would be too much of a difficult chance to get people inside during that situation.
Okay, thank you.
But those things happen, unplanned events happen, and that's where we have to be flexible and make sure that we have the funds to address those. One of the things we've also done, though, is we've closed the conference and event center on the St. Paul campus. That's about a 72,000 square foot building. It's in critical condition it needs about $20 million in capital renewal needs, but we re-engineered those programs, redesigned those programs, and we feel we can do those in other buildings now, and we're going to eventually take down that building and save $20 million worth of capital expenditures we would have made otherwise, because we don't feel we need to. We have to be strategic like that as we look at the campus. But we're also looking to reduce our leased footprint. We do have some leased facilities, and we were able to close one leased facility near campus. And as we consolidate our office space, we want to try to make sure that we eliminate at some point all leased space and make sure that we're on university-owned property as we go through that. But here's our 2023 capital request. As you can see, I'm going to walk through each one of these briefly, and then you can ask questions. But clearly here, we're trying to make sure that you've seen some of these before. We want to make sure that we hit these projects and get the ones that are urgent and are really shovel-ready. The first item is HEAPR, of course, and that's a $200 million request. And as we all know, HEPR is a special category of state bonding, and at certain categories that qualify for HEPR, we follow those very closely in terms of accessibility, health and safety, building systems like HVAC, plumbing and electrical, infrastructure, or energy efficiency. Now, these projects may not be sexy and have a ribbon-cutting opportunity, but they're really very important, and they keep buildings safe and warm and dry for our students and the people who work and live there. So we really want to make sure that we keep up on this project and with HEPR. As you've heard from state agencies, and I'm sure from our colleagues and friends at Minnesota State, there's a list to these projects. You have to plan them far in advance because you have to move people around. When you get ready to fix a particular building, you have to move those people out. Well, you got to find a place to move those people, have them housed temporarily while you fix that place up, and then there's a domino effect, and you have a number of buildings stacked up many times over a number of years that you really need to sequence. And once you don't have a bonding bill, or you don't get that HEPR apportionment, you just put everything on hold for a year. And sometimes it's okay, and the roof doesn't fall in, and sometimes it does. So it's a balancing act that we try not to get into too much. Here we have, I just wanted to give you a couple of examples of HEPR around the state and the 5 campuses. I've got the 4 listed here because in University of Minnesota Rochester, we lease space there and we deal with capital improvements through the leasing process. But here you can see in the Crookston campus, we've got a natural gas distribution line replacement project underway there. Some of those lines are over 40 years old. On the Duluth campus, we've got a business school annex where we've got to redo the HVAC and the code renewal issues there to make that safe and secure. On the Morris campus, we have the Briggs Library where we have some fire code and restroom upgrades to do. And on the Twin Cities campus, one of the examples is the Food Science Nutrition Building renewal, where we've got some aged systems that need to be replaced. That building was constructed in 1956, so there's plenty of things to fix in that particular place. We also have some research and outreach centers and field stations around the state, and so we have projects that need to be funded there as well. So here's how we allocate HEPR across the state, just so you get a sense of the way that we try to make sure that all 5 campuses, as I mentioned, Rochester's a little different, to make sure that the campuses here, the 4 campuses and the outreach centers have an ample supply of HEPR. We go through this process where we allocate based upon the square footage and also the need. We try to make sure that we provide funding to those places that need it the most. So let's talk a little bit about the chemistry, the undergraduate teaching labs. I'd like my supporter senior student, Mustafa Syed, come up and talk a little bit about this project. We've been here, as I mentioned, several years in this project. It's one where we're combining the old Fraser Hall on campus and putting a new addition on it. So it's one way we can renew some of the facilities that are there and incorporate them into the new teaching facility, the lab facility. But we're pretty excited about it. And if it's all right, Madam Chair, I'll let Mustafa Syed.
Yes, welcome, Mr. Saeed.
Hi. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. Thank you for having me here today and for your continued support for our university and our state. My name is Mustafa Syed. I'm a senior at the University of Minnesota, and I'm originally from Omaha, Nebraska. I transferred to the U of M after my freshman year. I felt that Minnesota would supply me with more opportunities and prepare me better for my future as a member of the science community. Now that I'm in my last semester, all of that turned out to be true, except for one caveat being the reason that I'm here today, to advocate for the renovation of our chemistry labs and spaces at the U of M. I've wanted to become a doctor since I was a kid and started my education journey at the U by taking chemistry. Like many other students, regardless of their majors at the U, I know many future lawmakers, educators, and computer scientists who have walked the dimly lit corridors of Smith Hall. I began taking general chemistry with Dr. Michelle Dreesen, who is approachable and passionate about the subject. I had the opportunity to teach chem during the summer, although it was online, which had its own challenges. I was doing chemistry in my kitchen as well when I was learning. But after talking to current and past TAs, I'm a little grateful that I didn't have to teach in person, just because I would have had to stand in between rooms to teach and to keep an eye out on everybody. The giant open room prevents students from discussing and learning with each other. The hallways have become classrooms as students are forced to use the quietest space available to them to analyze data and to solve problems. You may have toured it yourself and affirmed your choice of lawmaking over chemistry because it's just not an inviting space that promotes innovation like a world-class institution like the U should. I continued my chem pathway by taking organic chemistry, and if you've taken OChem yourself or know someone who has, it may cause a chill to run down your spine. But my experience and my fellow classmates' experience was far from that because of our remarkably talented professors. I've even talked to them about having a fulfilling career in chemistry if I decide that medicine isn't a right fit. Mostly, I just found out that chem is a lot more interesting than biology, but don't tell the med school I said that. I joined an organic chemistry research lab last year where I've been working to create potential treatments for drug-resistant bacteria, and I overlap my time in research with the U's organic chemistry lab course. In the mornings, I worked in a modern and functional lab built for innovation and discovery. In the afternoons, I ducked my head underneath emergency shower handles. I avoided clunky lab equipment integrated into the desks that haven't been used in years, and struggled to find elbow room under our safety hoods. The lab reminds me more of an old movie about a mad scientist than a modern university teaching lab. I still thoroughly enjoyed my experience, though, because of my professor and TA. That sentiment is pretty ubiquitous in the university, in the chemistry department, because we have staff who are passionate about the subject that they teach and provide an excellent education. Now all we need is the proper space to provide it in. The only thing truly holding us back is the lack of a functional workspace that encourages collaboration and problem-solving skills that modern chemistry requires, and that employers in our backyard like 3M, Ecolab, General Mills all value. That's why a renovated chemistry building is so important for students like me. I'm graduating this May, and I know that I won't be able to use the facility, but I'm still happy knowing that with your support, the next generation of students will be provided with an experience that allows them to find a passion for chemistry like I have, and in learning in an environment that lives up to our status as a world-class institution because of our work here today. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Great, thank you very much for your comments. I appreciate it. As some of us have seen the labs, Senator Jasinski, I believe, Senator Rasmussen, Senator Nelson, I don't know if you saw it. The lab.
I did not see the one in question. I was there when we built the new chemistry building, which is a few years old now. So
Right, the
I've not
research
se-
labs,
yeah, I've
right.
not seen the
Right,
lab.
yeah. Well, 95 years old, you can imagine the rest of you what it looks like. So thank you so much for coming today and testifying.
I appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
congratulations on your graduation.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd like Dean Brian Bohr from the University's College of Food, Agriculture, and Natural Resource Sciences to join me to talk about our farm project.
Welcome, Dean Bohr.
Thank you, Chair Pappas. Members of the committee, I'm Brian Bohr. I'm Dean of the College of Food, Agricultural, and Natural Resource Sciences at the University of Minnesota. I'll just comment to our student, who's always fun. I had organic chemistry one time, and it turned me into an economist. So thank you for the opportunity to provide an informational presentation on FARM, which is the Future of Advanced Agricultural Research in Minnesota, so 2 A's in that FARM, which is a $60 million request as part of the University of Minnesota's capital planning. Minnesota is a global leader in agriculture and food systems, and the University of Minnesota has been a partner since its founding. The University of Minnesota delivers research discoveries such as new varieties of crops and healthier, more productive livestock, as well as the future talent Minnesota's agriculture needs to enable our agribusinesses and our community partners to thrive and grow. Key platforms in delivering these results are the fields and facilities we operate that include 10 research and outreach centers across the state of Minnesota. And that place-based research is becoming more and more critical as you look to adapt cropping systems and agricultural systems to some of the climate changes, water resource availabilities, and soil types and invasive species we see. However, these living laboratories need significant modernization and investment if we're to continue to advance Minnesota's competitiveness as a global leader in agriculture. In the context that Senior Vice President Franz was just talking about, CFAN's research facilities are 70% critical or poor condition and simply can't continue for the long term. FARM represents that opportunity to reinvest in a state-of-the-art integrated research platform
that ties our animal, agricultural, and crop systems research together with a One Health construct that recognizes agriculture, food, the environment, and human health as a One Health system. This integrated design is a one-of-a-kind system of leapfrog innovations such as remote sensing technologies, robotics, and biological technologies in modern production facilities that will enable us to solve some of the most challenging problems facing agriculture. In partnership with Minnesota State's Riverland Community College in Austin, FARM represents a vertical education opportunity that includes K-12, two-year technical degrees, bachelor's degrees, as well as graduate degrees, and community outreach, bringing people into the solutions in agriculture across the state. This fully complements FARM's research strategy and is equally critical for delivering talent to drive our future agricultural systems and rural communities' economic development. A successful feasibility study of the vision affirmed an investment opportunity from the Hormel Foundation that resulted in a $60 million pledge in support of the FARM's pending design, site selection, and additional partnerships to complete a $220 million project. The capital request by the University of Minnesota for $60 million from the state increases the competitiveness of Minnesota's agricultural economy, and FARM itself will contribute $18 million in direct economic impact and $33 million in total annual impact from its operations, and that doesn't include the resulting impacts of the research and agricultural R&D of a 40-to-1 economic return that we've explored that it results in. Together, this public-private and university partnership has the potential to reinvigorate the living laboratory facilities that the University of Minnesota needs to successfully serve Minnesota's farmers, businesses, and communities. I want to thank you all for your opportunity to present this exciting vision and look forward to any questions or comments you may have.
Thank you very much, Dean Boer. How much was the donation from the Hormel Foundation?
Chair Pappas, it was $60 million.
Oh, it was the full $60 million.
It was $60 million, which is about a quarter of the full cost of the facility. The total cost of the project is $220 million, and Hormel Foundation contributed $60 million.
That's half the cost.
Well, it's $220 million.
Oh, $220 million. Oh, on my form here, it says $120 million.
It's
So-
$220 million
Okay.
for the full cost.
And so the rest of the money is coming from where?
There's a stack of finance that we've developed, and $60 million of that is a request to the legislature from the state. And then we're looking to other philanthropy to contribute to that, so we're already engaging in private sector partners to engage in the research there. And then the University of Minnesota, we have operations that exist in this area that we're going to be taking offline. And it's a good example, as Senior Vice President Franz was saying, the R&R costs on those are extraordinary now. And so we're basically taking the repair and replacement, when I say R&R costs, and moving those into payments on, portion of that will be from debt from some capital that the university acquired through a Century bonding activity. And then also our own operations that we have that we take offline to reinvest in this new capital, which we've already done the finances are. That's actually a feasible way to generate that. So those are the three primary stages of funding it.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to learning more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from anyone, Mr. Project? Oh, Senator Rasmussen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to congratulate the U. They were recognized along with Minnesota State on an analysis from the Foundation for Research on Equal Opportunity among public university higher education systems across the country. Minnesota was ranked by this think tank second highest among any state for return on investment. And when you look at the details of that data, especially programs within the sciences and in agriculture, specifically when it relates to the University of Minnesota, we're driving that return on investment number. And so I really appreciate that the university is looking at those high return on investment programs and prioritizing those with the requests that are coming to the legislature and with your requests to private donors as well. So I just wanted to recognize that work and thank you for the proposals today.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Franz.
Senator, well, thank you for that shout out on that. And let us know who number one is, because we'll beat them too.
Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is for Mr. Franz, Commissioner, or Mr. Franz now, I suppose. And you mentioned the endowment, the wonderful endowment for the Agriculture Research and Education Complex. We're excited about those endowments. I have two questions that are somewhat related and might seem a little off-field, Madam Chair, but they have to do with endowments. I was just reading that, which I think could be a good thing, but I'm surprised in a sense, that the University of Minnesota has one of the largest endowments among public universities in the nation. Maybe you could speak to the endowments briefly. I think that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Mr. Franz.
Madam Chair and Senator, actually, that's a good question. I think maybe a longer conversation at some point. But for today, I wish we were in that category. We're about midway on the Big Ten when it comes to endowments for public universities. We've made a lot of progress. I mean, I think we were, frankly, a little late to the game 20 years, 30 years ago, and we've made a lot of progress. We have a consolidated endowment fund now of about a little over $2 billion, and those monies are all given for particular projects, but those funds enable us to invest, and the earnings off of those funds go toward whether it's an endowed chair or a particular program such as Dean Boer might be involved in. So they provide those really wonderful opportunities to enhance and go to that extra effort to bring in talented researchers or professors or doctors. So it does help a lot. And I think one of the things that Kathy Schmilkoffer, the president of the University of Minnesota Foundation, and their team has just done a tremendous job in helping us fundraise and get people to think more about the university as this opportunity to see growth and dynamic change. So it's a very exciting opportunity. I wish we were at the very top. We're not, but we're working on it.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Nelson.
Yes, thank you. I do think that's good news. And I'm reminded of something I noted several years ago that was amazing to me, that South Dakota does an immense amount of endowment funding and funding from their alumni, so much so that they do not fund their campus buildings through state fundings. I can't imagine that, but I think it's great. I really want to congratulate you on the endowment funding. And then my question that's just a little bit far afield had to do with the more kind of recent news regarding $1 billion possible investment.
Senator Nelson, really don't have time to
Okay.
get into it. I'm
We'll
really
get
sorry.
into that later.
Maybe offline you could
Offline,
talk
we
about
can
that.
talk about
but
that.
No, yeah.
All right, thank you.
That's another discussion. Mr. Franz, we just have about 5 more minutes. Thank you, Dean Boer. So I'm going to have to ask you to go kind of quickly through the last 3 projects.
You bet. Just a few more to go through. Thank you, Madam Chair. Glad to do that. So the Duluth Academic Health Sciences, what an exciting project this is. This is an opportunity to expand the already growing health vision that Senator Nelson mentioned. We can talk about at some future point, but this is an opportunity to expand that in Duluth with the design and the future build of an academic health center that takes the medical students and pharmacy students from the UMD campus, brings them down to this academic health center in the middle of the medical district between Essentia and St. Luke's in downtown Duluth, and provides this opportunity for them to be right there with those 2 institutions and to really enhance the workforce in Duluth and really deliver academic health to that region and to a lot of underserved communities in that area. So we're very excited about that, and we're asking for the design money here. We have just 2 other small projects, but we wanted to talk about that we do have big projects in other campuses. University of Minnesota Crookston, we have a heating plant and utility plant. That thing was built in 1911, and we need to really make some major changes to that. So we're looking forward to that opportunity. And then in the Morris, the Multi-Ethnic Resource Center, that was built in 1899 and needs a lot of work. Doesn't have a elevator, as I mentioned earlier in some of these projects. We need to upgrade the code opportunities, but it's used for a lot of student activities, and it's really a center of campus opportunity there at the University of Minnesota Morris. And that actually concludes my remarks, Madam Chair, and I'm happy for any questions or to get out of your way, if that's what you prefer.
Thank you, Mr. France. It's just kind of shocking to me that we're dealing with buildings that are over 100 years old. You know, kind of think of them, I have an old neighborhood, and somebody might buy an old house and spend a lot of money fixing it up and restoring it. but really it doesn't make for a very efficient educational experience, for sure. Any last questions for Mr. Franz? Great, thank you so much. Say hello to the president for us. Hope to see her soon. And I'd like to now invite Chancellor Malhotra, who is still with us. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I thought, I know you're retiring, that's what I meant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be with you all through this session. I don't retire until August. And that's a promise, not a threat. Thank you, Chair Pappas, members of the committee. I'm Devendra Malhotra, and I have the privilege to serve as Chancellor of Minnesota State. Today in the audience, I want to acknowledge the presence of somebody you know very well, Roger Moe, Chair of our Board of Trustees.
Welcome, former Senator Moe. I didn't realize you were the chair, but congratulations.
And back in the early 90s, then Majority Leader and Senator Moe authored the bill that brought about Minnesota State system of colleges and universities. So he's actually the creator of our system. And I often joke with him that this is as close to the creator as I will get. And also in the audience, I also want to acknowledge the presence of my presidential colleague, Joe Mulford from Pine Technical and Community College. Again, Joe has provided tremendous leadership, not only to his college, but indeed to the system as a whole. And I'm glad he's here today. With me today, here on the desk is, in the panel is Bill Mackey, Vice Chancellor for Finance and Facilities, and Michelle Gerner, System Director of Capital Planning and Analysis. Vice Chancellor Mackey's team oversees 28.6 million square feet across Minnesota, along with our committed campus colleagues. This past bonding cycle, Minnesota State hosted the Senate Capital Investment Committee at 23 of our campuses for you to see and learn more about our infrastructure needs. We are appreciative of the time you gave us by visiting our campuses, learning more about our projects, and meeting with our students impacted by your work. You will hear from Vice Chancellor Mackey today about our rigorous bonding process and learn how the projects make their way to a final legislative request. Funding for HEAPR and the projects on our list is more than just bricks and mortar. They are about the students we serve. For example, the classroom and student services renovation at Normandale Community College that was recently completed, thanks to you, impacts 29 different academic departments, including computer technology, computer science, economics, math, and reading programs. The work of this committee does truly make a difference in the lives of our students and the communities we serve. To give you an idea of the size and scope of our impact, Minnesota State system of colleges and universities consists of 26 colleges, 7 universities located in 47 different communities with 54 different campuses and serving close to 300,000 students each year across the state. More than 64,000 are students of color or those of Native origin. More than 67,000 are 25 years or older. More than 60,000 are low-income or Pell-eligible students. More than 40,000 are first in their family to attend college. And 7,300 are veterans and active service members. Our 26 colleges and 7 universities serve as catalysts for social and economic vibrancy of the communities these colleges and universities serve and the regions they serve. Minnesota State is the most powerful and effective resource that the state has to ensure opportunity and prosperity for its citizens and communities across the state. Our colleges and universities serve students no matter where they are on their educational journey, from a certificate all the way to an applied doctoral program. High school students or recent grads, students returning to complete a degree or start another, and adults already in the workforce who need or want additional education or training. We form partnerships with employers across the state to ensure graduates entering the workforce are ready to contribute the first day on the job. And we produce more graduates for jobs in critical high-demand fields such as healthcare and information technology than anyone else in the state. Madam Chair, our campuses can't do this without your help, and we are grateful for your partnership. With your permission and indulgence, Madam Chair, I would like to turn the presentation now over to Vice Chancellor Mackey.
Thank you, Chancellor, and welcome, Vice Chancellor Mackey.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Pappas and committee. For the record, I'm Bill Mackey, Vice Chancellor for Finance and Facilities. It's good to be with you this afternoon. Minnesota State's capital investment request for this legislative session is one many members are familiar with. It's in essence our 2022 capital program request with 3 programmatic changes and project costs adjusted for inflation based on Minnesota management and budget guidance. The total capital program request is $348.7 million. This includes $173.7 million for asset preservation projects at college and university campuses across the state. The balance of the request, $175 million, funds specific design and/or construction work for 19 individual projects depicted by the green stars on this map of Minnesota. There's 20 stars, 2 for the 2 campuses of Minnesota West in southwest Minnesota. Just over half of these either fund construction of design work that has already occurred or is in process and funded in prior sessions. The remaining 8 funds design now in preparation for construction funding requests in the future. Of note, 12 of these campus projects were included in capital investment requests in 2020 and 2022. All have completed pre-designs and are ready to move forward. Given our 1/3 shared debt responsibility for individual projects, the request seeks state general obligation funding of $290.4 million and $58.3 million in user financing by Minnesota State for the 19 individual projects. There are no new buildings in this request. The investment priorities are for facilities and spaces already in place, making them more efficient to operate and serve students. In fact, if fully executed, the projects will reduce the overall academic footprint by more than 50,000 square feet across the
So,
system.
Mr. Mackey, when you say design, those are for renovation?
Yes, primarily. Some have renovation, some have demolition components, and then additions built on for newer space. So it's a combination of those 3 components across the board.
So, for example, I hate to interrupt you, but Mankato, there have the Armstrong Hall replacement. That's the one where you're kind of right-sizing it. You're taking down an old building and putting up a new one to replace it. Do I have that right? Maybe I have it wrong.
Chair Pappas, could I defer to System Director Gerner for that response?
Yes, please. Thank you, Assistant Director Gerner. I was
Certainly,
just using that as an example. I'm trying to understand the chart here, what it means.
certainly, Chair Pappas, we'll be going through the details of our projects in just a few slides here, and we'll be happy
Fine,
to.
I'll be patient.
We'll be happy to address
Great.
Armstrong Hall at that time.
All right, thank you.
Before getting too deep into the details of our project, this request and priorities are the result of a disciplined process, one rooted in ongoing campus facilities planning and documented on a 5-year cycle in individual college and university comprehensive facility plans, or CFPs. In March 2020, in preparation for the 2022 legislative session, our Board of Trustees adopted guidelines for developing these requests and priorities. The guidelines embrace 6 major themes: protecting and modernizing academic and student support spaces, fulfilling the vision of Equity 2030, energy efficiency and renewable energy infrastructure, additional square footage in rare cases only, valuing partnerships, and seeking funding for college and university priorities. Institutions then reviewed their CFPs and prepared pre-designs for their candidate capital projects. These candidate projects were then scored by representatives from across the Minnesota State system against the board guidelines. The results informed Chancellor Malhotra's recommendation to our Board of Trustees, who reviewed and approved the request in June of 2021, and the program was submitted to the state of Minnesota's capital budget system. During the fall of 2021, we hosted members of this committee, your colleagues on the House Capital Investment Committee, and representatives from the Governor's Office of Minnesota Management and Budget staff on nearly 50 campus tours across the state to see firsthand our priorities. With no bonding bill emerging from the 2022 session, we reviewed project and program needs with campus leaders during the summer and fall of 2022 and affirmed the priorities. Chancellor Malhotra recommended and gained approval of our Board of Trustees for this session in November of 2022. Changes to note from the 2022 request include a scope and cost increase at Pine Technical and Community College to account for circulation within the campus and alignment with city traffic patterns. Changing the Lake Superior College project from design only to a construction request to reflect the pressing need to leave leased space in Duluth, and postponing a request for design at North Hennepin Community College to reflect changing college and community priorities. Earlier this month, MMB released their inflationary guidance to take into account supply chain, material, and labor shortages and applied the methodology to our program, resulting in the request before you today. Asset preservation funding for investment in our existing academic facilities that we own, need, and operate is and has been our #1 priority. HEAPR funding is critical to keeping our campuses warm, safe, and dry, and please know sound facilities play an important role in recruiting and retaining students, faculty, and staff. This funding request for HEAPR would support 65 asset preservation projects at 38 college and university campuses, ranging from major HVAC replacement, $6.7 million at Alexandria Technical and Community College, to roof replacement and chiller plant overhaul and fuel tank replacement, totaling $5 million at Winona State University. In the bonding years 2014 through 2022, Minnesota State has requested $650 million in HEAPR funding to take care of our existing academic facilities. During that period, we have received $158.8 million, or 24% of the requested amount. As a result, the estimated backlog of maintenance, the right chart on the slide in front of you, in Minnesota State academic facilities has grown to nearly $1.2 billion. There is an additional renewal need of $1.3 billion in the next 10 years. As a result, the total 10-year renewal for Minnesota State academic facilities is roughly $2.5 billion. Similarly, we're seeing the individual project needs for HEAPR grow. In our 2020 request, $150 million, the average project cost was roughly $1.6 million. This request, the average project cost is $2.6 million, given the combination of project complexity and inflation, and to some extent, low funding in previous years, where we trim project scopes to help stretch funding to touch as many campuses across the state as possible. We cannot emphasize enough how important HEAPR funding is. Those who visited campus saw firsthand and sometimes could smell the need that we have in this area. This session, HEAPR funding cannot be strong enough, in our opinion, and what is needed going forward is strong, consistent, and predictable funding to allow college and university leaders to properly plan and manage their campus facilities. Chair Pappas, I'd now, with your permission, like to turn the presentation over to Michelle Gerner, our System Director for Capital Planning and Analysis, to walk through the individual project priorities.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gerner. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Pappas and committee. I'm Michelle Gerner. I'm the System Director for Capital Planning and Analysis at the System Office of Minnesota State. The next four priorities in our 2023 capital program request are for construction funding for projects where design work was funded in prior legislative sessions. At Minnesota State University Moorhead, priority number 2, construction funding acts upon design funded in 2018 and renovates 33,000 square feet of Weld Hall in the heart of campus, supporting the university's English, music, cinematography, and publishing programs while enhancing sustainability and accessibility for students, employees, and the public, and reducing the building's backlog of maintenance by an estimated $8.2 million. Priority number 3 is construction funding for Inver Hills Community College for the renovation of 32,000 square feet of their technology and business building, impacting high-demand programs including science, technology, engineering, and math, also known as STEM, information technology and cybersecurity, and the agriculture and paralegal fields. Design funding for this was also provided in 2018. Funding for Minneapolis College at priority number 4 renovates their Management Education Center to support and expand their ongoing partnership with Metropolitan State University. Finally, priority number 5 funds the restoration, renovation, and construction of new space at Pine Technical and Community College to accommodate their growing technical trades programs, including advanced manufacturing, automotive, and health sciences such as nursing, medical assistance, and EMT. Moving down our list, priority number 6 funds the design of the academic excellence renovation at St. Paul College. This priority is followed by relatively modest but important design and renovation projects at the Vermilion campus of Minnesota North College, the East Grand Forks campus of Northland Community and Technical College, and the Brainerd campus of Central Lakes College. Of note, at priority 10, Chair Pappas, as you asked about earlier, is a request for design and initial renovation work to replace Armstrong Hall at Minnesota State University Mankato. Armstrong Hall is the main academic facility on the MSU campus. It has exceeded its useful life and needs to be replaced with a new building to create a smaller, more efficient, and flexible classroom building to serve the university during the 21st century.
Yeah, Ms. Gerner, I guess that was my question, because I thought that I heard Vice Chancellor Mackey say that there were no new buildings, that everything was a renovation. So I'm just wondering, when you say design, generally you said renovation when you said design. So my question, because I remember being at Mankato State and seeing that building, yeah.
Yeah, Chair Pappas and committee, you're correct. Some of this project involves renovation of existing buildings. The majority of this particular project involves the demolition of existing Armstrong Hall and then replacing it with a smaller new building.
Right, okay, thank you.
Similarly, the request for design funding for the Center for Interdisciplinary Collaboration, Engagement, and Learning, or CECL, replaces 2 buildings at Winona State University with 1 new building that aims to be a net zero energy facility when completed. As we noted earlier, funding for Lake Superior College's integrated manufacturing workforce labs is now for renovation and construction to provide technical spaces on campus, to relocate machine tool, welding, computer-aided design, electronics, and civil engineering programs from off-campus leased spaces in downtown Duluth that will no longer be available after 2024. Finally, in this group, at priority number 13, is a request to fund design and renovation of existing campus spaces to support the cybersecurity lab at Metropolitan State University. All of our priorities that are shown on this current slide, numbers 6 through 13, were part of our capital program requests for 2020 and 2022, but ultimately not funded. Finally, priorities number 14 through 20 were all new requests for funding in 2022 and are again seeking funds for a range of work, including design of the renovation and construction of transportation trades and student services spaces at Alexandria Technical and Community College, down to the request for renovation at Ridgewater College in Hutchinson for programs including healthcare and construction, as well as student services spaces. The requests for Alexandria Technical and Community College, Southwest Minnesota State University, Rochester Community and Technical College, and Minnesota West Community and Technical College are for design funding this session and will seek construction funding in the future, while the project requests at Riverland and Ridgewater Colleges would fully fund design and renovation of their campus facilities this session. Pre-designs are complete for each of these projects. In total, as mentioned earlier, the total program request for 2023 is $348.7 million.
Thank you very much. Are you done?
We have 2 more slides.
Oh, go ahead.
Turning to what we've done with past funding, we thank this committee for capital investments in our colleges and universities in the 2020 special session bonding bill. You and your colleagues provided Minnesota State more than $90 million in capital investments in our academic facilities. This funding has made a difference. The $46 million in HEAPR funding enabled design and/or construction of nearly 60 projects at 39 college and university campuses across the state. The vast majority of this work is complete, making our campuses warm, safe, and dry, and also having designs ready for construction as soon as funding is available. The 2020 bonding bill also funded major capital projects at 4 college campuses, renovations of both the Anoka Ramsey Community College Business and Nursing Building and the Normandale Community College classroom and student services spaces are complete and being enjoyed by students, faculty, and staff as we speak. In addition, designs for projects at Minneapolis College and Pine Technical and Community College are complete and ready for renovation and construction funding this session. Chair Pappas and committee, this concludes our presentation of our 2023 capital program request and recap of FAST funding. We look forward to we thank you for your time and attention today and look forward to not only working with you this session in the weeks ahead, but also hosting you on campus visits this fall as we prepare for 2024. We welcome any questions you have at this time. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. There certainly are needs throughout the state. Any questions, Senator Jasinski?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Chancellor Malhotra, for the presentation and all the staff who are here today. I want to say thank you. I've been on the bonding committee 7 years, and the hospitality that we receive when we tour the MnSCU campuses are truly phenomenal. We always have great reception by you. We get to do some fun things we've done in the past from oh man, we've been in police scenarios. We're there. We've climbed poles. We've gotten our noses and ears waxed. We've done just about everything on these tours that I hope you new members will enjoy. It's been very entertaining, and it's great to see how important, and all higher ed is important in Minnesota, but for our small communities in greater Minnesota, usually your campuses are the economic engines of those small towns that help our businesses get our training for our workforce across the state. So I want to thank you for the past 7 years that I've been around for our campus tours on the bonding committee. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Rasmussen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to recognize Minnesota State's impact, and the report that I referenced earlier when the university was talking specifically mentions having high quality, cost effective community and technical colleges is really important to having that high return on investment when it comes to public higher education in the state of Minnesota. So I appreciate your work towards that. And just in particular, wanted to call out a project that's not in the district that I represent, but had a chance to visit the Alexandria Technical and Community College. And there, Madam Chair and members, they have a diesel mechanic program that they have a waiting list for. And you can get jobs in the local community that full compensation pays 6 figures. And employers need these people to help fuel the agricultural economy, construction economy. Students want to get into this program, but the space, the physical space is a limit from these students reaching these opportunities. And then I also just wanted to thank especially the president of Pine Technical and Community College for being here today. From the bonding trips from the house that I was able to go on, that was, I think, one of the most impressive stops of the entire trip, just to see the innovation and embrace of technology, careers of the future that are going to provide good incomes to Minnesota students that are attending the Minnesota State system. And so just appreciate all the work you've done, and we just wanted to recognize the real impact of a couple of those projects.
Thank you. Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to thank you for the good presentations. I also noticed the continuation. I remember in my earlier days on the bonding committee, the Minnesota State, or MnSCU at the time, you always did a nice job of explaining the footprint, and that your goal was to improve and not expand more and more larger footprints. And so I appreciate that, and I see that you've continued that again. And now I'm just wondering, have you been able to, I'm sure someone has probably on your team, Chancellor, been able to look at what maybe we'd call dynamic scoring here in the legislature, but how much savings in operational costs might come as a result of some of these renovations or updating? Do you keep numbers on that, how this investment in either HEAPR or renovations would help with contain the operational costs?
Chair
Chancellor
Pappas,
or Vice Chancellor?
Chair Pappas, Senator Nelson, I'll defer to my colleague, Vice Chancellor Mackey.
Mr. Mackey.
Chair Pappas, Senator Nelson, indeed, in our process of formulating a capital project, one of the assessments that's made as campuses prepare and they do their pre-designs for the project is they make an assessment on what the impact of the project would be on their operating costs. And one example that's in this request is the Winona State University project, where they plan to have net zero energy as part of that project. But I would say it's pretty safe to say that all these renovation projects will in the long term save operating costs, and those are documented through the thorough process that we have before projects get to this point.
Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And it'd be nice to see that, and maybe we'll see that later as you bring these projects again. So thank you.
I just had some figures I've been working on here since I've been on the bonding committee and was chair of higher ed. And it's just kind of interesting to me that we value our higher ed institutions so much that traditionally a third of the bonding bill went to higher ed requests. And I was always on the bonding committee as the higher ed chair. And then a sixth would be for Minnesota State, a sixth would be for the University of Minnesota. So if you're looking at a $1 billion bonding bill, and we were usually below that, that would have been about $150 million for Minnesota State. If you're looking at their request today, if we had a $2 billion bonding bill and we gave a third of that or a sixth of that to Minnesota State, we would be able to meet their request. And what that says to me, because I think over the years we weren't always able to meet their requests, that the requests have become more modest, that we're probably not in a growth environment. I was going to ask you that next about enrollment, but we are certainly in an area where we need to keep up with repair and replacement because we have aging facilities, and we need to be able to do the renovations to meet the modern needs of what our students need. And so although the list is long, it's long because we skipped bonding years. You know, even 21, we didn't do a bill and we didn't make up from the 2016 bill. And these lists just get longer and longer. We designed things in 2020, and here we are in 2023, and we still haven't appropriated the dollars to build. So with that, Chancellor, could you just give us a little update on how the enrollment numbers are going in Minnesota State?
Chair Pappas, earlier, I shared with the House Higher Ed Committee my thoughts on the enrollment. We have had a challenging decade as far as enrollment is concerned. I think over the last 10 years, we've lost about a third of our enrollments over the system as a whole. But almost 10 to 12% of that came during the pandemic. And at least in the first year, we are noticing in some instances, students are coming back at the same rate as they dropped, but in other institutions, it's not the same. And so we are working through those challenges. The secular decline over the 10 years can be attributed also to age demographics, and this is, it reflects also the national trends. But if nationally, if you look at it from a state perspective, we are doing a little better within the Midwest. Some of the other Midwestern states have lost greater amounts. But I think more important is, how do we deal with this? What do we do? How do we this turn around? Because precisely when enrollments are declining and our institutions are becoming smaller, is precisely the time when we are also being asked to provide more and more graduates so that Minnesota has the talent it needs and the workforce it needs for its continuing economic vitality and its social cohesion. So we have to think as to how to turn this around. So purely from that perspective, if you look at it, Chair Pappas, the last major expansion of higher education occurred about 3 decades after the World War II. And that was fueled by baby boomers coming more and more in there, and that was also fueled by military personnel coming and making transition to civilian life. That expansion had 2 characteristics which brought it to successful culmination. One was age demographics. The baby boomers were there, so you could bring in more students and graduate more students with even relatively stable student success rates. And secondly, both state government and federal government had made substantial investments. But today, when we try to work on turning around the enrollment decline and get into another era of higher ed expansion, getting more students in, graduating more students, putting more credentials out there in the labor market, A, age demographics is militating against it, and B, if you look at over the last 3 decades, there has been systematic disinvestment in higher education at the state level too. So much so that in the early part of 2000s, my colleague here, Vice Chancellor Mackey, can correct me, 2/3 of our revenues were coming from state appropriations, right, and 1/3 was from tuition.
Right.
In 2011, it was just the opposite. 2/3 was coming from tuition and 1/3 from state revenues. And in last few years, we are grateful to the legislature and to the governors that there has been some additional investment, and we are now currently sit roughly at 50-50, but we are nowhere close to legislatively supported goal that 2/3 of appropriation should come from state and 1/3 from the tuition. And so the new expansion will have to pivot and bring about new ways of accomplishing that. And there again, there are 2 approaches, and both are reflected in our biennial budget request, and some are reflected even in our capital bonding request here. One is that we will look for additional students from segments of populations and communities which have historically have had low participation rates or haven't had the ability to access higher education. Communities of color, those of native origins, adult individuals who for whatever reason have not taken advantage of getting the post-secondary credentials so that they are on the path to economic, good productive careers and upward economic mobility. Career changers, incumbent workers. So we have to position our institutions so that we serve this pent-up demand in these communities and provide these opportunities over the life cycle of the individual. And the second one will come from raising substantially the success rates of our students. Between first and second year, Chair Pappas, on the average in our colleges and universities, we lose about 30% of the students. Most of those students are in good academic standing. It's not as if they couldn't do the work.
Well, Chancellor, we're at a low unemployment rate, and I've seen that in the past, that when we have low unemployment, students are in the workforce instead of going to school. So maybe what we need is a recession, and then our enrollment would go up. No, we don't need that.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
I would not argue.
Really? Because when you get laid off from your job, then you say, okay, I'm going to take the time to go increase my credentials and go back to college.
Thank you.
And then
No,
I'm
I
more
understand the
employable.
concept, but just wishing for a recession is not.
No, it's
something
not
I'd
a good
like to
wish,
do,
but that's what actually has happened in the past.
Yeah, Chair Pappas, you're right. Enrollments are counter-cyclical, but I also would not recommend recession as an enrollment strategy, because what I'm referring to, those are the short-term trends. That happens.
Right.
At the particular type of business cycle, enrollment goes up, then it goes down.
Right.
That is the short-term dynamics of the enrollment. I'm referring to the underlying long-term dynamics of age demographics and where our student success rates are. And that is why we have also adopted in 2019 a goal of Equity 2030, which really focuses system-wide on closing educational equity gaps in both access and student success. If we do that, there'll be more students at any given point in time in our universities and colleges, and enrollment will go up. So student success strategy is also an enrollment strategy. So the investments we are asking in a biennial budget request and the redesign of our facilities, which we are arguing for in a bonding request, is really focused on promoting student success, closing educational equity gaps, enhancing access to communities which traditionally have been denied access to higher education. And we think that this is the approach which will bring about this turnaround, not only bring about this turnaround, but also position Minnesota for its economic vitality, but also provide students who previously did not have those opportunities to be on the path for upward social and economic mobility. So I think our strategy and our turnaround efforts are really all for enhancing the middle class and preservation of the American dream.
A much more positive approach.
Yes.
Right, thank you. Any final questions, comments? All right, thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate your presentation.
Thank you, Chair Pappas, members of the committee. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, we have announcements. So for those of you who are able to join us, we have our joint committee tour on food security at Keystone Community Services. Watch from our committee administrator, Rachel Carlson, has sent you out a reminder note about where to go and where to park. We're going to be at Miriam Community Services Center, something like that, which is very close to the location of the food warehouse. And we're going to have a presentation there and then a roundtable discussion, and then we can drive by the food warehouse, which is on University Avenue, park there quickly, run in. There'll be somebody there to greet us. It's a very cold, vacant building, but you can kind of get at least a look at what it is before the remodel. And so hopefully I will see you all in the morning. All right, great, thank you, and we stand adjourned.